So a few days ago, the city put on something called, I think it's filling. So a few days ago, the city of Minneapolis put on an event called Senior Fair in my neighborhood, not too far from where I live. And the purpose of this event was just getting more seniors the resources they need to be able to age in their home. And that was the theme of the event. And there was a panel discussion with local and state electeds. And they were so focused on this theme of aging in your home. And I'm like, well, how do we actually let our senior population, how do we allow our senior population to age in their home? And right now I feel like the biggest issue is with property taxes going up, we are pricing out people that have invested in their home and lived in the city for 30, 40 years by this big jump in property taxes every year. It's usually, this past year, it's like 7 to 8% of an increase, which is a lot. I mean, you're seeing a $400 difference on your bill or your mortgage, which is essentially a new car payment. So when we have residents who are on fixed incomes, like our retired residents, having to come up with that money, it really puts a burden on them, and they're like, can I afford to live in my home in this city? So that's something I really care deeply about. How can we, address this property tax increase without pushing people away from their homes? And specifically, I think that if we took a look how the city spends its money and just did like a fine audit and go through with a fine-tooth comb with how money is being spent at the city level, we can probably, find some programs that, one, are not serving our residents with the intention that they were set up to do, or two, just avoid waste and fraud and misspending at the city level. So I believe if we did that, we don't have to raise property taxes up every year by 6, 7, 8%.
Do you have examples of spending that is crazy?
Yeah, so a few months ago, there was this article that came out. I can't remember which news outlet did it, but it looked at the work of the violence interrupters. And the violence interrupters was a program to help youth who were getting in trouble to not get in trouble, as kind of like a way to help the police department address crime in the city. And an audit of that program kind of showed that the violence interrupters weren't necessarily doing what they were contracted to do. And this specific nonprofit that teamed up with the city was being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when you're not performing and you're not delivering the results you are expected to deliver, it's like, what are you paying for? So that's something that, an example of how can we look at what programs already provided by the city and go through with a fine-tooth comb and just see if they're working. And if they're not working, how can we take that money and spend it more wisely somewhere else?